Welcome to the Common Thread.
Why
Cazzi, Coach Cazzi. So on the Common Thread, the audience that we're looking to present the podcast to are our local soccer genome community and different parents, coaches, players in the soccer community. Obviously, the common thread that brought us together is soccer.
Yep.
So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the game, where you are in the game?
Yeah, so I knew really early on that soccer was the sport that I really wanted to play. Ever since I was 5 years old, that was pretty much the sport I stuck to. And I grew up being super competitive with my older brother because he played baseball and he's 3 years older than me, so he was a little ahead of the jump in sports and all of that. So always competitive with him. But I always knew that I really wanted to pursue soccer like further than college and play professionally, and that's still the potential dream after healing from, what injury I have going on and all that. But I ended up going to Campbell for a good portion of my career, and I played there for 3.5 years and was grateful enough to be a part of a few championships there, some Big South tournament championships and regular season championships. And then I ended up transferring for my last year to Missouri State and was able to get 2 more championships with them, but then got a season cut short because of an ACL tear. But still just felt like my heart belonged to soccer, so I felt like there was just no way I could leave it, even though, I am a little limited in what I can do right now. But yeah, I just think early on I knew that soccer was something that I could be really good at if I just continued to work hard at it. And it's brought me so many great people and great relationships, and I think it's really made me the woman I am today, and I'm grateful for all that it's taught me. And yeah. What do
you think it was about soccer that really attracted you to it?
I think it was the fact that it's such a problem-solving sport. It's so different from other sports. Well, 1, because you use your feet, and 2, because it's not stop and go. It's very fluid, and so you have to be able to be smart in the game and figure out how to solve problems instead of football and other sports where there's set plays, or when you maybe have a timeout and you have time to talk to your coach. It's really up to you and the players around you to figure out the solution to the game. So I really just liked the challenge that it brought, and I felt like every day I was learning something new, and even now I feel like there's still so much that I can learn, and I'm learning from players that I'm coaching, and I'm learning even just from still watching the game. But yeah, I think just the ongoing knowledge that it could bring was just something that really drew me into it and separated it from a lot of the other sports.
What are some of your favorite early memories of the game that really just kind of stick out?
I'd say one of my favorite memories was when I was probably about 12 years old. I had moved to a new club, and I met some of my best friends there, and during that season, we ended up going to the finals in State Cup, and I was the first PK taker, and I was so nervous. I remember I was with my teammate, actually shaking, shedding tears because I was so nervous. But I ended up scoring my PK, and then later on we ended up winning the final, and it was just awesome. I remember running after we all celebrated with our team, and I hugged my mom who was in the stands, and it was such a beautiful moment. And yeah, I carried that with me because I feel like it was such a blessing that I got to be at that club and meet all those great people, and we all got to share that beautiful moment together. That was definitely something that I hold really close to my heart. And then I'd say early on in high school, I had an opportunity. I was on varsity as a freshman, and I just learned so much from the upperclassmen, and they were mentors to me and kind of took me under their wing, and we had a really good season as well. We didn't go as far as I wanted to, but I just remember all the times we had on the minibus traveling together and just playing some funky music, getting hyped before games. Those are some things you can never trade for anything in the world. So those are my earliest memories that I'd say that I really still hold close to my heart.
What would you say were some of the more difficult experiences in the game that you had to kind of face, and what do you feel like you kind of brought away from those situations? Yeah,
I'd say early on, when I was younger, I got cut from one of the higher teams in the club that I was playing at, and that was just really difficult because I didn't really know if I was falling behind as a player or if soccer was for me, and so that kind of was like the turning point for me, and when I realized, no, this is actually what I really want to do. And when I ended up moving clubs, ended up being like a big blessing to me because it taught me to work harder. It taught me to really kind of set goals for myself and how to achieve those goals with my dad, who is my coach pretty much, who really helped me to be the player I am today. But yeah, I think that was something really early on at 12 years old I had to go through, and I was grateful enough to have the strength to push through that. And I'd say later on in high school, I also went through a really bad injury where I had to get ankle surgery. Ooh. And yeah, it was not a fun time. We were playing our rivals in high school, and I got pushed and I landed on my ankle very weirdly, and I ended up breaking the inside of it, and then I tore all the ligaments on the outside of it. Oof. And I remember going to my trainer and like trying to walk it off and saying like, no, I can play. Like I can still play because
you can do this,
it's
coach.
Your rivals. Like you got to play.
Yeah.
And my AT was telling me like, listen, I just don't think it's a good idea. And so that was just really hard. That's when I kind of like broke down and was frustrated because I knew it was going to be a long recovery from that. But yeah, that was something that really taught me a lot about patience and trust in the process, and just being grateful for every moment you do get on the field when you are healthy, because you never know when your last game will be. Right. And yeah, and then I would also say just tearing my ACL in my last season of eligibility, that was definitely probably like the hardest thing that I've had to go through so far, and I'm still going through that. But I think that it definitely happened for a reason and gave me a chance to kind of step back and reflect on how much soccer really means to me and how I could give back to the community in another way. And if coaching is something that I'd really want to pursue rather than playing professionally. So, yeah.
Well, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Yes, that's true.
So, walk me a little bit through kind of your evolution through the game into college. So you started off, I'm assuming, at recreation level?
Yes.
And then you kind of progressed to challenge? You just jumped straight to classic?
No,
what did that look like?
I started at rec. I started at the FC Carey days where everyone starts with, like the young 5-year-olds with the shin guards.
Yeah.
Yep, mini kickers, shin guards on the outside of the socks.
I love that.
Wearing the pigtails with the ribbons, all of that. And started there and then realized, okay, I actually kind of enjoy this. And then went to rec, and then the next year or so I went to challenge, and then the next year after that I went to classic, and then worked my way up to get onto elite or one of the top teams there, and later on made the ECNL team. And that's when I moved clubs, and then the clubs merged together. And
you know exactly what clubs you're talking
about. You might. Yeah. And when the clubs merged together, that was another big change.
That was a tough time.
Very tough time for a lot of people. Yeah. And it was definitely interesting from the standpoint that just a lot of different players were mixing together, and there's so many different teams. But there I made the ECNL team, and then was on there for a couple years, and later was blessed to make the academy team during my last year, which was when COVID hit, but still I was really grateful to have the time on that academy team and learn a lot from which I took into college and all that. So yeah.
And then talk to me a little bit more about the college experience. So obviously that's a pretty big transition, not only having COVID as your last year of youth soccer, but that transition from being a youth player to a college player, what was that experience like for you? Yeah,
I definitely think it was very challenging. I think COVID definitely made it a bit more difficult from the standpoint of not really getting to meet many people outside of your team, which was great because it made us such a tight-knit group, but it was still just different experience from what you would expect college to be. But I remember that meeting that my coach from Campbell brought us in saying that our season got canceled for the fall and was moved to the spring. And in a way, it was motivating to me because it gave me an opportunity to train with the team and get used to what college soccer really looked like rather than just jumping right into it into the fall. So I do think that actually gave me a really great advantage to get used to kind of the style of play that my coach was expecting and kind of just how Campbell soccer played in general. And so going into that fall, I was very nervous, but coming out of it, I felt more confident. And going into that spring, as a freshman, I was just determined that I was going to do everything I could to be out there as much as I could. And I was blessed to be a starter and just help the team be successful. And that's when we actually were able to win our first Big South tournament title since 2004. So
that's awesome.
It was such an incredible experience that I will always remember that as well. But yeah, then later on after that, like since we had such a high standard from our freshman year moving forward, we kind of just kept going like that and continued to get Big South tournament title or Big South regular season titles. But I think one of the biggest things I learned from my stint in college soccer was really just being patient with myself and realizing that there is a season for everything, because spring season was always difficult when you're not competing in as many games, but that's when you're training with your teammates, getting better, and also just kind of taking time to reflect on what you could hone in on and what you could really master. So yeah, I definitely say the transition was challenging with COVID, but I think that the people that surrounded me definitely made it so much easier, and all the success that we were able to achieve definitely demonstrated that all of our hard work paid off.
Yeah. So obviously transferring schools your senior year is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So what was going on there that led you to make that decision?
Yeah, so I had always loved Campbell. I always felt like that was part of my home being there. But having the opportunity to have that last year of eligibility, I really just wanted to challenge myself and try to go somewhere a little bigger and see how I could affect or impact that program. And so I ended up choosing Missouri State, which a lot of people definitely ask questions, why'd you choose Missouri? But I really did fall in love with the way that they played, and I would watch film on them before I ended up going there. And the coaches at the time, I really enjoyed kind of what they were preaching to their players. And yeah, I think it was a huge change for me to be 50 minutes from home to 15 hours from home.
Yeah.
But I kind of just wanted to prove to myself that I could do this. I could go to a new program and help be an impact player to them as much as I can. And I felt that I ended up being able to do that as much as I could before tearing my ACL. But yeah, I think that having that 5th year of eligibility just definitely opened up a door for me to want to try something new and try and challenge myself in a different way.
What was it about their style of play that was attractive?
I think it was more so that they like to connect the ball around the back, and they're super patient. And at the time at Campbell, like, we weren't as patient of a team. So I'd say that at Missouri State, we like to move the ball more, and we're patient in our build.
Just value possession.
Very valuable in possession, and I just like to be the player that is on the ball a lot and move the ball. And so, yeah, so that was kind of what was really appealing to me. And they had a lot of good stats with their defensive side of it too. They were coming in, they had the least goals against, I think, in the NCAA. They had a high statistic up there. So I wanted to be a part of that as like a holding mid and be able to, you know,
be on the ball.
Yeah, be on the ball while also keeping goals from going in. So, yeah.
And then obviously nobody likes an injury.
Right.
The injury hit. So what are some of the emotions that you experienced those first couple weeks as it kind of set in that, like, hey, this is going to be a little bit of a long road. This is not going to be just a quick recovery. Yeah,
I'd say when I first tore it, definitely frustration set in because I had plans to go play pro. I had an agent, I had video, I had kind of the idea of what I wanted to do. But the immediate reaction to me was just a frustration of why now, why me kind of deal. But then after reflecting on it that first week or so, I just felt like, okay, I feel like God allowed this to happen for a reason. He's trying to teach me something from this, and I feel like I've learned a lot about myself through this time. I've healed from things that I feel like I haven't had healed from in the past, and I think it also gave me an opportunity to see the game from a different light and show me that, okay, maybe there is more that I need to grasp, or more that I need to learn before I go and pursue this dream of mine. But yeah, I think it also helped that I had some teammates that unfortunately had torn their ACL earlier this season or prior and a couple months before, so it was a great support system that I had there. So from frustration, it kind of turned into acceptance and into motivation to be even better coming back, and just making that process, not torture me, but instead make it something that I could say I overcame.
So when soccer is so much of your life, and then all of a sudden overnight it's gone, what did you discover about yourself as a person that maybe was put on the side burner while soccer was the priority, but now it was gone?
Yeah.
So what other parts of your personality you feel like came out, or other areas of your life that you were able to kind of hone in on that you normally would not have?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think that, like growing up, I was always just that soccer girl, and I never really entertained the idea that I was anything else. And so having that kind of been taken away from me overnight, I realized, okay, wait, I actually have a lot more to give than just being athletic and just being a soccer player. And that kind of led me in my spirituality a bit more, and led me to be really a lot more connected with God and my faith in that sort of community. And so I started, when I came home, I started volunteering at my church, and got this opportunity to lead a middle school group of girls and kind of just be their mentor, I guess, and help lead biblical sessions and lessons that we have going on. But I think it taught me that I'm more than just an athlete. I'm a person that's compassionate, that is caring, and who is just wanting to have everybody kind of be happy and joyful around them. So yeah, I think that having soccer taken away from me in that instant definitely showed me that there's more to life than soccer, even though it is such a big part of my life still, and I will always love it. But yeah, it definitely showed me that my identity is deeper than just a soccer player.
So enter Soccer Genome.
Yes.
So obviously you had, through college, dropped in during the summers for the college teams and pickup. So it was awesome getting to know you and having you a part of the college program. But then found out through a mutual friend that you were in town and potentially would want to coach.
Yes.
Yeah, so walk me through that transition of beginning to see the game as a coach, leading a group, versus experiencing the game as a player, and kind of the differences of those two perspectives. And what that experience was like. No, I think it was such a exciting moment when I received a text from you saying, hey, like, heard you were in town and was curious if you were, looking for a job. And that just like kind of gave me butterflies, because I always remembered Soccer Genome as being just this place of feeling such joy with soccer, and also just safe, like not feeling like there's anybody on your back or watching you or kind of analyzing how you play. It was more so just people getting together because you mutually love the game. So when I got that text about being a potential coach, I just felt a lot of excitement, and a part of me did feel a little nervous because I didn't picture myself, getting into coaching so soon. But as I've gone into this, I just feel like I've grown so much. I've really felt a lot of support from the other staff members as well, and as they coach, I've learned a lot from them, and even more so the players. And something big that I've learned is adaptability here. I love how fast-paced everything is, and how you really do have to ensure that you're on top of things and making sure that you're on top of kind of the plan for the day, and making sure that everybody's having as good of a time as they can. But I think too, as I reflect on a player versus coach, I think that I've seen how difficult it is for
you to not be able to play and demonstrate drills as much with, having an injury as much as you'd like to. So it's led me to be better at verbalizing what I want from players as a coach, and having to explain it in a way that's breaking it down for them and even breaking it down for myself. So I think that's actually helped me to become a better coach, because it's forced me to kind of adapt in that way. So yeah, I think being at Soccer Genome is just such a blessing, and I've really enjoy every time I step in the building, hearing the music blare, and I just love hearing the kids get so excited about being here and seeing the coaches, and I really do feel like it's been such a fulfilling experience so far.
That's awesome. What is there anything about the experience that has surprised you that you're like, wow, I actually really enjoy this age group, or I really enjoyed this aspect of coaching that I didn't realize I would enjoy so much?
I think one of the biggest things is the players that are very invested in it. It's so fulfilling to see them ask questions, to see them really listening to the feedback that you give them. I think seeing how hungry they are to grow and learn is just so exciting, and something I didn't expect to really see. And it's been so cool to see it from such a diverse group of people. It hasn't just been one group, it's been a variety of players, and just seeing the excitement that they have about being here and getting to play soccer is something I really didn't expect to see. And it's made me reflect too on how grateful I should be when I am healed and able to play again, that I get to move my body in the way that they get to move their bodies. So
outside of the coaching piece, one thing that, I feel like the last year or so we've really tried to intentionally talk a lot about as a coaching team is the professional development. So the things that we're growing in as individuals that aren't soccer specific, but they're about developing as experts that would transfer off the soccer field into any sphere of work or life. What are some areas of professional development that have either been challenging to you or have kind of surprised you, or things that you've been able to lean into that really make you excited about developing as a professional, right? So someone who is able to show up, deliver a service, do it with excellence, feel really satisfied in the work that you've done. What are some of those things that come to mind?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges at first for me was like my confidence as a coach and being okay with asserting my dominance, because I think as a female coach, it can be different sometimes. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I had to learn as quickly as I could, to ensure that the kids were listening to what I had to say, and that they also felt like I knew what I was saying. And so I think that's something that I've definitely been able to grow in, and that is something so important for later on professionally. Just being able to walk into a room and feeling confident in where you are and who you are and what you're going to say. So I think that was one of the biggest things that I've really been able to hone in on thus far. But I'd also say that going back to that adaptability piece of just feeling the ability to change a drill immediately if another kid shows up, or being able to adjust a drill if it's not going as well as you want, and understanding how numbers play a role in it, and how many players are on the field, and skill level, dividing it, and all of that. So I think being able to make those quick decisions, it kind of brings me back to that problem-solving piece about soccer when you're in the game, trying to figure out how to solve a really tight defense, or a five-back, or things like that. I think that I'm able to kind of associate solving problems like that with solving problems in coaching, and being able to quickly on the fly figure out how can I make this session the best for these kids. Yeah,
that's awesome. So other than soccer, what's something interesting about you that other folks may not know about?
Okay, I like to write poetry, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to write. So I know we were talking a little bit about side quests and how we all kind of have our own side quests.
We do indeed.
One of my other dreams is to publish my own book of poetry, I guess.
Should definitely do that.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about it, and I'm kind of trying to finalize maybe what ideas and stuff I really want to put in that. book per se, but yeah, I really do I like to write and kind of just like journal my thoughts and that kind of stuff. But other than soccer, I am really active. I really enjoy being outside and going on hikes and just being with nature. I feel like one of the biggest blessings in life is just like the outdoors and in the trees and stuff. So yeah, I feel like I'm a big outdoorsy person. And obviously just love hanging out with people and sharing a laugh.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome. We should rename our podcast the Side Quest.
The Side Quest.
The Side Quest podcast.
It should be a segment.
Okay, there you go.
It should be.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
On the 30-minute mark, here's our side quest.
Side quest portion of the interview.
I like it.
So kind of in wrapping up, one thing that I like to pose to the person we're interviewing is something that would be of practical use to a young player watching this podcast. So what is something that comes to mind where if you could look back and talk to your 11-year-old self, based on everything you know, I mean, I'm obviously pulling out of the conversation this importance of being adaptable, the importance of being able to handle a unexpected injury and the character it takes to get through that and to be patient. But what would be your message to, a young 12, 13-year-old player that you would have wanted to tell yourself back when you were 12 or 13?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the first thing that comes to mind is do not think that your circumstances are the end-all be-all of who you are as a player or a person, because I feel like I'm a living testimony that your circumstances do not tell the full story, and you can overcome wherever you are at, no matter how far along you might be as a player, if you're just starting out or if you've been a player for a long time. I think that no matter what life throws at you, it's all about digging deep and looking for that inner strength and that spirit of God within you to be able to push through. So yeah, I just say that if there is anybody out there that has a dream to continue to play soccer, and if it's not even soccer, but it's a dream that maybe others have told you is a far reach, I'd say don't listen to them. Just really chase it and go after it, because one day you might look back and regret not following your heart. So yeah.
And then what about another question I'd like to ask is more geared towards a parent of a player. What is maybe one or two things that you learned from your parents that really helped you in your journey through soccer that have just kind of stuck with you?
Yeah, I'd say being patient was one of the biggest things that my parents were good with me with. When I'd come in the car after a bad game, I never had to worry about being, spoken about sternly, and it was just an open conversation, and they knew when to give me space when I needed it, and they never pushed playing soccer on me. They wanted it to be something that I wanted to do. So I would just encourage that it to be something that your own child is very passionate about, and give them the space when they need the space, because sometimes our identity can get tied up in the sport that we play, and you just don't want that to lead to burnout or have them question why they play. So yeah.
So last question, Cazzi 5 years from now.
Oh, okay.
Where do you envision yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'd like to hopefully still be playing soccer. That's the dream. Hopefully by then I'd been playing in at least 3 countries. I'd like to, get around there a little bit,
Yeah. 3 countries.
Yes, I love that. But I think also maybe that might be when I start to hang up the boots and get, to that point of being involved in soccer in another way. So I think that I would like to return to some capacity of coaching or training, and just settle and be willing to help out in a community setting with my church and be a big role in that as well, because I feel like that's a big part of me. So I feel like I'd love to have a bigger role in the church that I'm involved in 5 years. So yeah.
Well, great podcast.
Yeah,
well done, Coach
thank
Cazzi.
you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and we'll have to check back in 5 years.
Yes, that sounds great.
There you go.
Thank you.
Don't fall asleep, Bev. The running joke is every podcast, about 15 minutes in, he just gets lower in that seat. eyes get real short. Did we lose you for a second? I think we did.
Today, no.
There's like a half a second
So
where
we
I
kept
turned
you
and
locked in.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Good.
I was really hoping you were going to bring it back in the 5 years from now and be like, my book's going to be #1.
Oh my gosh, I should
I was like,
have.
"Guys, this is perfect primetime manifestation.
There you go.
The side quest.
Hey, but we're still rolling, so we can add this to the side quest.
Okay.
Yeah, put it in the side quest.
Recheck? Okay.
5 years from now.
5 years from now.
5 years from now, I'd love to be continuing to play soccer, but I'd also love that book on poetry that I'm going to publish to be a #1 New York seller.
The side quest becomes the main quest.
The side quest becomes the main quest.
love that.
And who knows, maybe after that, I'll write a sequel.
Hey!
You never know, but no, I really would like to have that be out in the world for everyone to see in the next 5 years or so.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Side quest becomes the main quest. Boom.